In this week of Intro to Interpreting, we learned a lot about culture. In the identity video, she talked about how culture is defined as knowledge, beliefs, arts, morals, laws, and customs of a specific group of people. Culture defines our beliefs, social experiences, value of gender, educational experiences, and temperament. She also talked about the difference between collectivists and individualists. Americans are considered individualists because we value independence, we desire recognition for our efforts, and we focus on innovation, like new things and ideas, and we also have shorter relationships. While collectivists are 70% of the world's cultures, they value interdependence, so working together, team-based activities in sports, and shared history. Cultural identity was also talked about. It's not homogeneous, so it's not the same. It is the primary and secondary cultural identity, such as using a capital D when you say deaf, like the deaf community. Another thing she talked about was how interpreters, in order to be effective, they have to know the different cultures that they're translating between, and they have to be able to interpret without offending either of the people involved. The last thing she talked about in the video was the National Interpreter Certification, which was updated in 2011. There is a written exam, which is knowledge, and then there's an interview and performance component. You don't get to choose which portion you take first, but you have to take both of them. And the interview scenarios must be answered in ASL. And so you want to be an interpreter. This week we read chapters 2, 3, and 4. In chapter 2, we talked about how culture, like depending on where you are in the world and what time period you're in, like that definitely determines like your cultural norms and stuff like that. The book also, along with the video, said that culture defines the value of family, gender, social experiences, economic status, educational status, physical, mental, and emotional, and spiritual development, and your personality type. So whether you're from Japan or China, like that definitely changes like how you were raised and what your culture is. Another thing that the book talked about was the time, like cultural differences in regards to time. So like deaf events, they may be scheduled to start at 6 o'clock, but they actually end up starting around 7:30 or 8 because everybody's busy catching up with each other. So they don't really think starting on time is important. And once you immerse yourself in a specific culture, you're able to understand like the culture and the language better. So like by like talking to deaf people or whatever culture, by talking to them, you're able to communicate with them better and understand the culture relatively easier. So it's easier to like interpret between the two cultures. And it's the same not just for like the deaf community in America, but for all around the world. So